I don't know if you heard this week, but Donald Trump was arraigned in New York City on 34 felony counts. And I've been looking for the very best news clips to react to. But it turns out that Jon Stewart has done it for us. And so today, for the first time ever, you're going to see me react to Jon Stewart's reaction of the news or the media's reaction to the Donald Trump arraignment. Let's start the video.
All right, the indictment came down. It's 30. You know what? I just forgot. I'm not a lawyer.
It's okay. I am. I'm a criminal defense lawyer in Louisiana, and my name is Keith Whiddon.
Is any of this normal?
This DA's office prosecutes this crime all the time. This is a mundane business records crime that is not uncommon, and it's not uncommon from this prosecutor.
I would actually go out on a limb here and say that that's probably right, being that you have New York City, Manhattan, you have Wall Street right there. I'm sure that this DA's office does see plenty of what we would call white-collar crime.
Oh, well, that's awesome. That's just a normal indictment charging Donald J. Trump with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. Or to translate that into jaded news-ish.
Do you see anything new in there today that you didn't know?
No, in fact, it's kind of expected that there would be less than people would want to read.
People felt it was.
I like that line, less than people would want to read, because an indictment really is a basic document. There's enough in there to identify the crime or crimes that the defendant has allegedly committed. There's not any juicy facts. And in a case where there's 34 felony counts, and a lot of them are the same charge, just maybe with different scenarios, facts, check numbers, invoice numbers, it's going to be a really boring and really repetitive read.
Underwhelming.
Some found it disappointing. It depressed some people on the left.
So I'm going to let Jon finish.
Were you disappointed? Were you depressed? Here's why. Because you treated this like the final confrontation with Thanos, and then it actually just played out like what it was, a boring as shit legal procedure at the very beginning of what will be a long, drawn-out, laborious legal process. Because as I mentioned earlier, law is boring as shit.
I don't think law is boring as shit. It can be boring. And as for Jon Stewart really said this best. This is the beginning. I've talked about arraignment. I'll even link arraignment in this video in the little card up here. But an arraignment is the very beginning of a case. The only thing that ever comes before an arraignment is a 72-hour hearing, which Donald Trump didn't have that. But the 72-hour hearing is what happens whenever you are arrested, and you have to be informed within 3 days of your arrest for your reasons for actually being arrested, and they set a bond and things like that. Now, Trump's legal team negotiated a surrender, and so he didn't have to do the perp walk or be arrested or be put in cuffs or anything else for that matter, like anybody else who gets arrested would be. He was spared that and took care of all of it in a courtroom. Just as even more mind-blowing is the fact that they offered to do it by Zoom. I don't know how someone could be booked, even if it is booked in the most sterile way that Donald Trump was booked in this case. I don't know how they can be booked over Zoom, but apparently the Manhattan DA's office had that part figured out. But let's get back to what needs to be said here, what I wanted to say here, and that is this is the very beginning of this case. It starts with an arraignment. An arraignment, like I say, like I've said before, like I've said in the video I'm linking in the cards up here, is that an arraignment, in my experience, there's only 4 things that can happen. 1, you get there, your lawyer enrolls on your behalf, and he or she enters a plea of not guilty to the charge. Option number 2, and this is common in drug cases or cases that have a really long drawn-out investigation, you go to your arraignment date, and they say, they being the prosecutor, says that we are not ready to officially or formally charge this case. We have not filed a bill of information. We have not filed an indictment. Therefore, we're giving you a new arraignment date. That's option number 2. Option number 3 that I commonly see whenever I go to court is you go in for a felony arraignment like Trump did, and they say they being the prosecutor, says, we looked at this case. We don't think there's a good felony in here. We're going to send it down to misdemeanor. Here's a court date for a misdemeanor arraignment. And option number 4, you get there. Prosecutors looked at everything, says, there's no good case here. We're just going to dismiss everything. Trump got number 1. He went in, his lawyer enrolled, entered a plea of not guilty to all 34 counts, and then they did his little sterilized booking, and he walked out of the courthouse, just like anybody else that goes to an arraignment after they've already made bond does.
Please continue being let down by the expectations you motherfuckers created.
This is one of the most historic cases, arguably the most significant case right now in the American court system. It appears to be built on a pretty shaky foundation.
We don't know what the foundation of this case is because we do not have a single shred of what even could be considered possible evidence in a case. Because what happens after an arraignment is discovery. Discovery is where the prosecutor's office delivers to the defense team the documents that support their case, and then motions flow from, what is or is not in discovery. So to say this case is shaky or not shaky, or let's see,
it's a bubble case.
Or if it's a bubble case, I'm just going to say it's a little too early to call one way or the other. You're basing your decision around what's contained in 34 repetitious paragraphs in the bill of indictment.
It's not a slam dunk. Commentators across the spectrum are saying, boy, there's really not much in here, raises all kinds of questions about the legal theory behind this case. An unimpressive document.
Right.
It's an unimpressive document because, again, it's repetitious. It only identifies the crimes the DA's office, or in the case of an indictment, the grand jury, has decided stick. And they are providing only the information that is needed to go into the public record to make clear the crimes that they are charging Donald Trump with.
Because it's not the trial. You're thinking of the trial part. It's like if you look at a recipe for apple brown Betty and go, butter, apple, cinnamon, I don't know, I'm underwhelmed. This isn't delicious at all. Yeah, because it's fucking paper. It's the recipe.
And that's literally what the indictment is. It's paper. It's the recipe. It lays out the elements that the state or the Manhattan DA's office intends to prove at a trial.
It's not the game, it's the roster. And by the way, only our media, those cloistered, short attention span, own ass spelunking. No? Defenders of democracy. Find a president paying hush money to a Playboy model and an adult film star and then cooking the books to help himself win an election. Underwhelming and boring.
I will say, I think Jon Stewart did a really good job of summing up what the case is. I think that the Manhattan DA's office, whoever the special prosecutor is that's going to handle the trial in this, may want to take that clip right there because it is a perfect summation of what the theme and theory of the entire case is.
By the way, does anybody, and this is just an off-topic thing, did anyone think $130,000 to Stormy Daniels seems a little light? Is that in this economy?
I did think that. I was expecting more money. Not going to lie about that.
In this month, the only thing I'm thinking is you could probably get that much hush money for banging an alderman. Like I've seen people get $750,000 for spilling coffee on themselves.
By the way, that hot coffee case, that's a whole nother topic. That woman was entitled to every dime that she got and more. I'm just going to go on record and say that.
It's like, that's just a dollar figure, not of this era. That's some shit like Taft or Coolidge would have pulled. Coolidge would have been like, how about $130,000 or perhaps a Model T? But I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
The one person we have not heard from is Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Now, he is still in recovery after that fall.
Mm-hmm.
But talk about why the silence of Mitch McConnell, fall or no fall, speaks volumes.
I'm going to go with fall. Let me ask you, coma or no coma? Why hasn't Mitch McConnell responded, or at least dilated his pupils?
I mean, Mitch McConnell may be unconscious for all that we know, and probably does not have the wherewithal to even authorize a statement being made by himself or his office, if we're being honest.
Epic fucking media fail.
If you enjoyed these Lawyer Reacts videos, just drop a comment so we know that we should make more of them. Thank you for sticking around until the end of this video. If you found the information in the video helpful or informative or entertaining, do me a favor. Click the subscribe button and ring the bell notification so you can be a part of the first 1,000 subscribers to this channel, and you'll get notified every time we post a new video, podcast, or other information that you may find helpful. If you have questions about a criminal case and you want to talk to me, then scan the QR code over here or check the link in the bio below. And if you have questions about an expungement, need an expungement for an old case, scan this QR code over here or use the link that's in the bio below. And if you want to watch another video that I've made, just click this one right here.